Mr. Peter, I finished my part, so do you want to start now? Please turn on the microphone.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you very much. I want to say one thing. There is a block that's being displayed on the screen that is going flashing. Please remove or please move window from the shared program.
Oh,
And it's a little distracting. Can we eliminate that?
I thought that
Yeah, that's
I was the only one see that.
okay. No, all of us are
Okay.
watching. Okay, great. You got it. Yes, I need you to help me with my slides, please. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. I am Peter Mazuka from the United States. Thank you for joining tonight. I'm going to need 6 volunteers to do some reading for me, and I will help you with the medical terms. I am not a doctor. I'm a businessman. So I had to learn how to pronounce the words. And if I can do it, I know you can do it because you're doctors, or at least in medicine. So what I will be doing this evening is I have a case to present with vocabulary. I will pronounce the vocabulary first. Then I will ask someone to read the paragraph. I will repeat the vocabulary after that person has read the paragraph. And then at the second reading of the vocabulary, I'd like everyone either to mute their mic, or if you're really good, go ahead and keep your mic on and practice that pronunciation. So Ms. Zhang, could you please present the my case, please? Dr. Zhang, do you have my PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Yes,
you see it?
I see yours, not mine.
Okay, maybe can I stop sharing and start again?
Okay.
Okay. Have
Yes,
you
ma'am.
seen it yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is a case study, and I will begin with this pronunciation of these medical terms. After I finish reading them, whoever is going to volunteer first, please tell me your name, what you, or if you're a student or if you're working at a hospital, and your position. And then please read the paragraph. Then I'm going to repeat the vocabulary, and I'd like everyone to try to pronounce the words on their own. So the first word is myocardial infraction, which is a heart attack. Hypertension, high blood pressure. Hyperlipidemia, crushing chest pain. Jaw, ECG, electrocardiogram. ST, elevation. Precordial leads. Cardiac troponin levels. Cardiac catheterization. Occlusion. Left anterior descending. Coronary artery. Okay. Who is my first volunteer tonight? Just tell me your name, where you work. If you don't work, you're a student. And then please read number 1, and then I will repeat for you. Anyone? Or do I have to do all the work?
Có ai tình nguyện phát âm sợ không ạ? Xin mời chị Lan được không ạ?
Okay, we'll do this next time then. Number one, a 56-year-old man with a history of hypertension and hyperlipidemia presents to the ED 2 hours after a sudden development of crushing chest pain and pain radiating to his jaw and left arm. His ECG shows ST elevations in the precordial leads. Thank you. ST elevation, let me begin again. A 56-year-old man with a history of hypertension and hyperlipidemia presents to the ED, which is probably the emergency department, emergency room in the United States, 2 hours after the sudden development of crushing chest pressure and pain radiating to his jaw and his left arm. His ECG shows ST elevations to the precordial leads, and his cardiac troponin levels are elevated. He undergoes a cardiac catheterization, which reveals an occlusion to his left arm, anterior descending coronary artery. Okay. I'm going to repeat the vocabulary, and I will go slower to give you a few seconds to pronounce the word. I will say it twice, so you have a chance to hear me twice, and I'll give you a chance to pronounce. So you can mute your mics, or you can try to, if you want to pronounce with your speaker, is fine. Myocardial infraction. Myocardial infraction. Hypertension. Hypertension. Hyperlipidemia. Hyperlipidemia. Chest crushing chest pressure. Crushing chest pressure. Jaw. ECG. Electrocardiogram. ECG. Electrocardiogram. ST elevation. ST elevation. Precordial leads. Precordial leads. Cardiac troponin. Cardiac troponin. Cardiac catheterization. Cardiac catheterization. Occlusion. Occlusion. Left anterior descending coronary artery. LAD coronary artery. Left anterior descending coronary artery. LAD coronary artery. Okay, Dr. Zhang, thank you for helping me, and thank you for your last presentation. Go ahead and go to the second page.
Yeah.
Which area of the heart is affected by this obstruction? Obstruction. Anterior interventricular groove. Excuse me. Anterior interventricular groove. Anterior interventricular groove. Anterior for septum. Anterior for septum. Occlude. Occlude. Bifurcate. Bifurcate. The circumflex artery. The circumflex artery. Number 2, which area of the heart is affected by this obstruction? The LAD runs along that interior interventricular, number 4, groove and supplies the anterior right and left ventricles as well as the anterior for septum. The LAD is the most common coronary artery to become occluded. From what vessels does the LAD originate? The left main artery bifurcates in most people to the LAD and the circumflex artery. I'll repeat the vocabulary and you practice at home. Obstruction. Obstruction.
Mọi người nhắc lại cho thầy nhé.
Obstruction.
Obstruction.
Anterior interventricular groove. Anterior interventricular groove.
Anterior interventricular groove.
Good.
Anterior interventricular.
Ventricular.
Intracrical.
Yeah.
Groove.
Anterior interventricular. Now you're having me make a mistake. Anterior interventricular groove.
Anterior interventricular groove.
Got it. Anterior, number 4, septum. Anterior, number 4, septum.
Anterior
me.
number 4 septum.
This
Yes,
is
ma'am.
anterior IV septum. IV
Oh.
means like intraventricular. Yeah.
Got it.
Number
Okay,
E.
IV.
Oh,
Anterior IV septum.
IV. Okay.
okay.
Anterior IV septum.
Anterior IV septum.
Thank you. Occlude.
Accrue.
Occlude.
Bifurcate.
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 Their circumflex artery.
The
The circumflex artery.
artery.
Okay. Okay. Number 3, please.
Yeah.
Territory.
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 Anteroventricular groove.
Anteroventricular groove.
Wrap around.
Wrap
Wrap
around.
around.
Inferior border of the heart.
Inferior border
Order
of
of the heart.
Posterior IV groove.
Posterior
inferior
groove.
IV groove.
SA nodal artery.
Nodal
Artery.
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 AV nodal artery.
Nodal
Artery.
artery.
Right. Right marginal artery.
Right.
Marginal
Artery.
Right marginal artery.
Right marginal artery.
The posterior descending artery.
The posterior descending artery.
anterior descending
Artery.
artery,
Let's go back to number 1, please. Does anybody have any questions here? Do you want me to repeat this and you try again?
Mọi người có câu hỏi gì phần này không ạ? Thì thầy mọi người có muốn thầy đọc lại một lần hay là mọi người muốn thử tự đọc?
Myocardial infarction.
Này đang học.
pure infection,
Hypertension.
Hypertension.
Nấu canh nhé. Có rau mà. Cho tép vào thôi. Rau gì đâu.
Hyperlipidemia.
Hyperlipidemia.
Crushing chest pressure.
Crushing chest pressure.
Jaw.
Jaw.
ECG electrocardiogram.
ECG electrocardiogram.
ST elevation.
ST elevation.
Precordial leads.
Precordial leads.
Cardiac troponin.
Cardiac troponin
troponin level,
Levels. Cardiac catheterization.
Cardiac
catheterization,
Occlusion.
Occlusion.
Left anterior descending coronary artery, or LAD coronary artery.
Left anterior descending coronary artery.
coronary artery,
Number 2, please. Obstruction.
obstruction,
Anterior interventricular groove.
Anterior
interventricular
groove.
Anterior IV septum.
Anterior IV septum.
Occlude.
Occlude.
Bifurcate.
Bifurcate.
The circumflex artery.
The circumflex artery.
Okay. Next, please. Territory. Anteroventricular groove.
Anteroventricular groove.
Wrap around. Inferior border of the heart.
Anterior border of the heart.
Posterior IV groove.
Posterior IV groove.
SA nodal artery.
SA nodal artery.
AV nodal artery.
AV nodal artery.
Right marginal artery.
Right marginal artery.
The posterior descending artery.
The posterior descending artery.
What are the branches of the right coronary artery, RCA, And what territories do they supply? The RCA first travels to the atrioventricular groove, then wraps around the inferior border of the heart to the posterior IV groove. In 80% of people, the SA nodal artery is the first branch of the RCA. Other branches of the RCA include the right marginal posterior descending in 80% of people, and AV nodal arteries. This man's having a heart attack. Number 4, please. Contraction cycle. Cardiac cycle. Maximal blood flow. Minimal blood flow. Diastole. Systole. Cusp. Aortic valve. Obstruct. During which part of the contraction cycle do coronary arteries fill? The coronary arteries have maximal blood flow during the diastole and minimal flow during the systole. This is due to their location above the cusp of the aortic valve, which obstructs flow into the coronary arteries when the valve opens during systole. Okay, I'll repeat the vocabulary and I'll go slow so you can repeat. Contraction cycle.
Contraction cycle.
Contraction cycle.
Maximal blood flow.
Maximal blood flow.
Cardiac cycle.
Cardiac cycle.
Minimal blood flow.
Minimal blood flow.
Diastole.
Diastole.
Systole.
Dystole.
Stone.
Cusp.
Cusp.
Aortic valve.
Aortic valve.
Aortic valve.
Obstruct.
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 Okay, number 5, please. Biomarker.
Biomarker.
Myocardial injury.
Myocardial
Injury.
Sensitive and specific marker.
Specific
Marker.
Drug-induced myopathy.
Drug-induced myopathy.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis. Very good.
Rhabdomyolysis.
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 Very good.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Got it. Myocarditis.
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 Myositis.
Myositis.
Dermatomyositis.
Dermatomyositis.
Myotosis. Myotosis.
Myotosis.
There you go. Poliomyositis. Poliomytosis. Myositis. Poliomyositis.
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 Number 5. What biomarkers indicate myocardial injury? Cardiac troponin, I and T, are sensitive and specific markers of damage to the heart. Keratin kinase, CK, is an enzyme that is found in muscle tissue throughout the body and may become elevated from damage to muscle cells. Elevated CK levels are not specific to myocardial infarction, MI, and may be seen in drug-induced myopathosis, rhabdomyolysis, myocardosis, and myositosis, dermatomyositis, polymyositis. That's a lot even for me. Biomarker. Repeat. Biomarker.
Biomarker.
Myocardial injury.
Myocardial injury.
Sensitive and specific marker.
Sensitive and specific marker.
Drug-induced myopathy.
Drug-induced
Drug-induced myopathy.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Yes. Myocarditis. Myocarditis.
Myocarditis.
Meiosis.
Myocarditis.
Myositis.
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 Dermatomyositis.
Dermatomyositis.
Dermatomyositosis. Dermatomyositosis.
Myositis.
Poliomyositis.
Polymyositis. Polymyositis.
Poliomyositis.
Poliomyositis.
Yes.
Poliomyositis.
Number 6, please. Skeletal muscle injury. Detect.
Skeletal muscle injury.
Skeletal muscle injury.
Skeletal muscle injury.
Skeletal
muscle
injury.
Detect.
Detect.
Number 6, CK-MB is an isoenzyme of CK, composes 3% to 5% of the total CK, and is expressed in higher levels in cardiac muscle. CK-MB is sensitive and specific for myocardial injury. However, skeletal muscle injury can increase CK and MB slightly as well. Troponins are the preferred method to detect myocardial injury.
Slightly as well.
Okay. Skeletal muscle injury.
Skeletal muscle injury.
Skeletal muscle injury.
Detect.
Skeletal muscle injury. Detect.
If you know how to say detect tower, you can say this very easily. Detect.
Detect.
Okay. All right. Number 6, please. Oh, 7. Baseline.
Baseline.
Reinfraction.
Refraction.
Delayed presentations.
Delay
Presentation.
Baseline.
baseline
Reinfraction.
refraction
Refraction.
Delayed presentation.
delay presentation.
Number 7. What is the timing of biomarker release after myocardial injury? CK levels rise within 4 to 8 hours, at peak at 12 to 24 hours, and return to baseline within 36 to 48 hours. It is therefore a good measure of reinfraction. Troponin I and T may be detected as early as 2 hours after MI, but usually rise by 6 hours, peak at 12 hours, and return to baseline by 7 to 10 days, making the test useful to identify patients with delayed presentations of MI. Baseline.
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 Reinfraction.
Reinfraction.
Refraction.
Delayed presentations.
Delay
Delay
presentation.
presentation.
Okay. I think we have one more. Oh, that's it. This is our first time, and we're still learning how we are going to have a regular flow. So thank you for joining us. Is there any page you would like for me to present again?
Đây là lần đầu tiên mà thầy hướng dẫn tiếng Anh chuyên ngành y khoa ấy, thì nó hơi khó khăn đối với thầy. Hy vọng là mọi người có thể học được những một số điều thú vị từ bài giảng của thầy. Mọi người có muốn thầy đọc lại slide nào?
Please give us some feedback for all 3 of us. We have 3 different presenters. You can send each person a feedback or a general feedback. Please tell them that, Dr. Tung, that we need feedback.
Thầy rất là hy vọng nhận được phản hồi của mọi người về cái phần của thầy trình bày trong buổi hôm nay sau khi mà cái buổi học hoàn thành. Thì sau đây thì